What if the stars only shine when no one is watching them sleep? Tonight, as gentle rain whispers against the windows of your soul, you sit on the covered porch of consciousness, gazing up at a sky that holds secrets about rest you have never been taught. Close your eyes and feel yourself settling into this sacred space between day and dreams. The rain falls like tiny prayers, each drop carrying the wisdom of clouds that have learned to let go. You are not here by accident, beautiful soul. Your restless nights, your seeking heart, your tired body that somehow cannot find the off switch. All of this has led you to this moment of recognition. Tonight, you will discover that sleep, like starlight, reveals its deepest mysteries only when you stop trying so hard to capture it. Breathe with me now, feeling the cool night air that carries the scent of rain-washed earth and possibility. Your porch overlooks a garden where everything sleeps with perfect trust. The roses have closed their petals. The trees have settled their leaves. Even the busy world has grown quiet, as if the universe itself is demonstrating the art of conscious rest. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss future chapters, and share in the comments how you're feeling right now. Your journey toward sacred sleep is precious, and your presence here matters deeply. There is a woman named Catherine from Maine who used to believe sleep was her enemy. Night after night, she would lie in bed, counting hours, calculating how tired she would be tomorrow, making sleep into mathematics instead of poetry. She came to this porch of understanding one rainy evening, much like this one, and learned that rest is not something you chase, but something you allow to find you. Feel the rain drumming its ancient rhythm on the roof above you. This sound has been the same for thousands of years, falling on the roofs of temples where Buddhist monks discovered that sleep, like enlightenment, cannot be grasped with effort. It can only be received with an open heart. In the darkness beyond your porch, you can barely make out the silhouettes of trees. They stand so still, so present, so completely at peace with the night. They do not worry about tomorrow's sunlight. They do not count the hours until dawn. They simply rest in this moment, trusting that morning will come when it comes, just as it always has. This is your first teaching, dear one. Sleep is not a destination to reach, but a state of being to inhabit. Like the stars that shine without effort, like the rain that falls without force, like the trees that rest without anxiety. Your body knows how to sleep when your mind stops interfering with its natural wisdom. Tonight, you will learn 10 sacred rituals that transform sleep from struggle into surrender. These are not techniques to master, but truths to remember. They come from the ancient Buddhist understanding that everything in life, including rest, is an opportunity to practice presence, gratitude, and letting go. The first truth is already revealing itself in the darkness around you. Can you feel it? The paradox that the harder you try to capture sleep, the more it slips away. Like trying to hold water in your hands or catch starlight in a net. But when you simply lie down with trust, when you breathe with acceptance, when you close your eyes with gratitude rather than desperation, sleep comes to you like a gentle friend who has been waiting patiently for you to stop running. Listen to the rain now. Each drop falls exactly when it needs to fall. Not a moment sooner, not a moment later. Your sleep has this same perfect timing, this same natural rhythm that unfolds when you stop trying to control it and start trusting it. There is Margaret from Vermont, a teacher who discovered that her body needed only 6 hours of sleep, not the 8 she had been forcing herself to pursue. When she stopped fighting her natural rhythm and started honoring it, her mornings transformed from groggy struggles into peaceful awakenings. And David from Oregon, a retired carpenter whose mind raced with tomorrow's projects every night until he learned the 3-minute breathing practice that would become his gateway to rest. Just 3 minutes of conscious breathing, and his entire nervous system would shift from agitation to peace. Their stories, like yours, began with the recognition that sleep is not a problem to solve, but a gift to receive. Tonight, as you sit on this porch between waking and sleeping, you are joining a lineage of souls who have discovered that rest is not about perfection, but about permission. Feel the air growing cooler now, carrying the fresh scent of rain and new beginnings. Your body knows this is the time of settling, the time of release. Your breath naturally deepens. Your shoulders naturally soften. Your mind naturally begins to quiet, not because you are forcing it to, but because you are finally allowing it to. The stars above are invisible now, hidden behind clouds heavy with rain. But they are still there, still shining, still offering their light even when no one can see them. This is how your capacity for rest exists within you. Always present, always available, always ready to emerge when conditions are right. And the conditions are becoming right now, dear soul. The rain continues its lullaby. The night wraps around you like a soft blanket. Your porch becomes a threshold between the busy world and the peaceful realm of conscious sleep. You are ready to begin this journey into the 10 sacred rituals that will transform not just your nights, but your understanding of what it means to truly rest. Each ritual is a doorway. Each practice is an invitation. Each moment is an opportunity to remember that sleep, like love, comes most freely to those who stop demanding it and start welcoming it. Close your eyes, deeper now. Feel the rain blessing this moment of beginning. You are exactly where you need to be, learning exactly what you need to learn, becoming exactly who you are meant to be. Someone who knows how to rest with the trust of stars, the peace of rain, and the wisdom of trees that sleep without worry under the infinite sky. The first ritual is about to reveal itself. In the gentle darkness behind your eyelids, in the rhythm of rain and breath, in the sacred space between one heartbeat and the next, your transformation begins. Welcome to the 10 sacred rituals of conscious sleep. Welcome to the porch where rain teaches letting go and stars demonstrate the beauty of shining without effort. Welcome to the beginning of your journey home to rest. The rain has settled into a gentle rhythm now, like a grandmother's heartbeat that knows no urgency. From your porch, you watch the world release its hold on the day, and in this sacred darkness, the first ritual begins to whisper its truth. There is a clock somewhere in your house, its hands moving with mechanical certainty towards some arbitrary goal. 8 hours, 8 perfect, measured hours that someone, somewhere, decided was the magic number for human rest. But tonight, dear soul, you are about to discover that this number is nothing more than a story, and stories can be rewritten. Close your eyes and feel yourself breathing. Notice how your breath doesn't count to 8 before releasing. Notice how your heart doesn't beat precisely 60 times before pausing. Your body knows rhythms that have nothing to do with the mathematics of modern sleep science. There was a woman named Ellen from Kansas who spent 3 years of her life feeling broken. Every morning, she would calculate the hours she had slept, always falling short of the sacred 8. She would lie in bed, watching the clock, her anxiety growing with each passing minute as her sleep debt accumulated like interest on a loan she could never repay. Feel the weight of her story. Feel how familiar it might be to your own heart. The pressure to perform even in rest, the guilt of needing less or more or different than what the world tells you is correct. But Ellen's story didn't end in mathematics. It ended in wisdom. One autumn evening, sitting in her kitchen while chamomile tea cooled in her favorite cup, Ellen's grandmother shared something that would change everything. "Child," she said, her voice carrying the authority of 8 decades, "I have never slept 8 hours in my life. 6 hours, and I am renewed. My sister needs 9 to feel human. Your grandfather, rest his soul, could nap for 20 minutes and spring up like a young deer." Feel this wisdom settling into your bones now. Feel how it relaxes something deep inside you that has been holding its breath, waiting for permission to be different than what you thought you should be. Your body is not a machine with standard settings. Your sleep is not a product with universal requirements. You are a unique expression of life itself, with rhythms as individual as your fingerprints, as personal as your dreams. The rain continues its patient teaching outside your window. Some drops fall quickly, completing their journey in moments. Others gather slowly, taking their time before releasing. Both reach the earth. Both fulfill their purpose. Neither is wrong. This is the first sacred ritual. Release the myth of 8 hours. Release the tyranny of the clock. Release the belief that your worth is measured by your sleep performance. There is Mary from Texas who discovered she is a natural early sleeper, ready for rest by 8 in the evening and naturally awakening at 4 in the morning. For years, she fought this rhythm, staying up until 10 because that's when adults are supposed to sleep. Then struggling through mornings clouded by insufficient rest. When she finally honored her body's wisdom, her life transformed. Her quiet morning hours became sacred time for reading, gentle movement, and watching the sun paint the sky. She learned that fighting your natural rhythm is like swimming against the tide, exhausting and ultimately futile. And there is Robert from Colorado, whose body needs 9 hours to feel restored. He spent decades feeling guilty about this need, setting early alarms and forcing himself to function on less, believing that needing more sleep was somehow a weakness or failure. The day he gave himself permission to need what he needs, his health improved, his mood stabilized, and his productivity actually increased. His 9 hours became an act of self-love rather than self-indulgence. Listen to the rain now and ask yourself, what if sleep is not about duration but about depth? What if rest is not about quantity but about quality? What if your body knows exactly what it needs, and your only job is to listen with the tenderness you would offer to a dear friend? Feel yourself breathing in this new possibility. With each inhale, you are breathing in permission to be exactly who you are. With each exhale, you are releasing the heavy burden of sleep perfectionism. Your nervous system is already beginning to relax into this truth. your shoulders dropping slightly, your jaw unclenching, your breath deepening as you realize that you have been fighting a war that was never yours to fight. Some nights you may sleep 5 hours and feel radiant. Other nights you may need 10 hours to restore your spirit. Some seasons of your life may require more rest, others less. All of this is natural. All of this is right. All of this is your body's wisdom expressing itself through you. The Buddhist masters understood this thousands of years ago. They spoke of honoring the body's natural rhythms like honoring the seasons. Spring requires different energy than winter. Dawn asks for different presence than midnight. Your sleep needs flow and change like everything else in the natural world. Breathe into this recognition now. Feel how freeing it is to stop forcing your beautiful, complex, wise body into someone else's simple formula. Feel the relief of releasing yourself from sleep prison and stepping into sleep freedom. In this freedom, something magical begins to happen. When you stop watching the clock, you start listening to your body. When you stop counting hours, you start honoring quality. When you stop demanding 8 perfect hours, you start receiving whatever rest wants to offer you with gratitude. The rain outside is slowing now, each drop falling with perfect timing, perfect purpose. Your body has this same natural timing, this same inherent wisdom. Trust it, dear soul. Trust it the way you trust your heart to beat, your lungs to breathe, your cuts to heal. Tonight, place your hand on your heart and whisper this sacred promise. I will listen to you. I will honor your rhythms. I will give you what you need, not what someone else says you should need. Feel this promise settling into your cells like rain into thirsty earth. Feel your body sighing with relief, finally free from the burden of sleep performance, finally able to rest in its own natural timing and grace. The first ritual is complete. You have released the myth and embraced the truth. You are ready for the second teaching, which waits patiently in the gentle darkness beyond your closed eyelids. The rain has grown gentler now, like whispered secrets between earth and sky. From your porch of contemplation, you notice something profound. Your body rests in the chair, muscles softening with each breath, but your mind, your precious, busy mind, still dances with the energy of the day. This is the sacred territory of the second ritual, the recognition that your body and mind can be in completely different seasons of readiness for rest. Close your eyes and feel this truth in your own experience. Your legs may be tired from walking through the day. Your shoulders may carry the weight of responsibilities. Your physical form calls out for the healing embrace of sleep. Yet behind your closed eyelids, thoughts flicker like fireflies in summer twilight, bright, quick, impossible to ignore. You are not broken, beautiful soul. You are experiencing the most natural thing in the world. The body and mind are different creatures with different needs, different rhythms, different ways of finding peace. There was a woman named Grace from North Carolina who worked as a nurse for 30 years. Every evening, she would come home with feet that ached and a body that longed for rest. She would sink into her favorite chair, feeling every muscle relax. Finally, she would think, time to sleep. But the moment her head touched the pillow, her mind would awaken like a bird startled from its nest. Patient names, medication schedules, the colleague who seemed stressed, the conversation she wished she had handled differently. Her body was ready for dreams, but her mind was ready for overtime. Feel this in your own life. How many nights have you experienced this beautiful contradiction? Your form seeking rest while your consciousness hums with activity. This is not a problem to solve. This is a mystery to understand. In the Buddhist temples of ancient Tibet, the masters spoke of two types of tiredness. Tiredness of the body, which comes from movement and action, and tiredness of the spirit, which comes from carrying the weight of unprocessed thoughts and emotions. Your body can be exhausted while your spirit feels restless. Your mind can be active while your physical form begs for stillness. Both truths can exist in the same moment, in the same breath, in the same beautiful, complex being that you are. The second sacred ritual is learning to prepare your mind for rest with the same tenderness you use to prepare your body. When Grace discovered this truth, everything changed. Instead of lying in bed fighting her active thoughts, she began creating what she called her mental sunset. 30 minutes before sleep, she would sit in her living room and let her mind process the day, not trying to solve anything, not trying to fix anything, simply allowing her thoughts to move through her awareness like clouds across the evening sky. She would ask herself gentle questions. What did I carry today that I can set down now? What moments brought me joy? What do I need to release into the night? Feel yourself trying this now. What have you been carrying today that belongs to the day, not to the night? What thoughts are asking for acknowledgement before they can transform into dreams? Your mind is like a faithful servant who has been working hard all day. It needs to be thanked. It needs to be heard. It needs to be gently told that its shift is ending and rest is beginning. There is Patricia from Arizona, a retired teacher whose mind would replay conversations from decades past every night. Old arguments with her ex-husband, moments when she felt she should have spoken up, words she wished she could take back. Her body was 72 years old, but her mind was still 25, still trying to solve problems that belonged to yesterday. She learned to speak to her mind like a loving grandmother speaks to an anxious child. Sweet mind, she would whisper, thank you for trying to help. Thank you for caring so much. But we cannot fix the past tonight. Let's rest now and trust that tomorrow will bring its own wisdom. Listen to the rain outside. Notice how it doesn't fight with the earth when it falls. It doesn't argue about where it should land. It simply releases, trusting that the earth will receive it exactly where it needs to go. Your thoughts can fall like this rain, not pushed away, not fought against, but simply allowed to move through you and find their natural resting place. The Buddhist masters taught that the mind is like a glass of muddy water. When you stir it vigorously, trying to make it clear, it only becomes cloudier. But when you set it down and simply wait, the mud naturally settles to the bottom, and the water becomes clear on its own. Your racing thoughts are not your enemy. They are mud in the water of your consciousness, waiting patiently to settle when you stop stirring them with worry and resistance. Breathe into this understanding now. Feel your shoulders releasing as you realize that you don't have to fight your thoughts. You don't have to make them stop or disappear or become something other than what they are. You simply have to stop feeding them your anxious attention. There is James from Michigan, a widower who discovered that his nighttime thoughts were actually his heart trying to process grief. Instead of fighting these feelings, he began setting aside time each evening to honor them. He would light a candle for his beloved wife, speak to her picture, and allow himself to feel whatever wanted to be felt. When his heart felt heard, his mind could finally rest. This is the sacred practice of emotional sunset. Just as the day needs time to transition into night, your inner world needs time to transition from activity to rest. Your feelings need acknowledgement. Your thoughts need witness. Your heart needs space to be exactly what it is. Tonight, instead of demanding that your mind be quiet, offer it the gift of gentle attention. Ask it what it needs to say before sleeping. Listen with the patience of the earth receiving rain. Thank it for its faithful service through another day of being beautifully, complexly human. Feel your body and mind beginning to find harmony now, not through force, but through understanding, not through control, but through compassion. Your physical form and your consciousness learning to rest together, each at their own pace, each in their own way, both held in the loving embrace of your awareness. The rain continues its patient teaching. The night offers its quiet wisdom, and you are learning the sacred art of preparing not just your body, but your entire being for the gift of conscious rest. The rain has become a whisper now, each drop a tiny bell announcing the arrival of something sacred. From your porch sanctuary, you feel the night deepening around you like a velvet embrace. In this profound quiet, the third ritual begins to reveal itself. 3 minutes. Just 3 precious minutes that hold the power to transform your entire relationship with rest. Close your eyes and let yourself sink deeper into this moment. Feel how your breath naturally wants to slow, to deepen, to become a bridge between the busy world you are leaving and the peaceful realm you are entering. In those 3 minutes, you are about to discover something extraordinary. Not a technique to master, but a doorway to remember. Not a practice to perfect, but a pathway home to yourself. There was a woman named Linda from Ohio who had forgotten how to breathe. Not literally, of course. Her lungs worked perfectly, drawing air in and out with the reliability of sunrise. But she had forgotten how to breathe with consciousness, how to breathe with intention, how to breathe as an act of love toward herself. Every night, Linda would lie in bed with her mind spinning like autumn leaves in wind. Tomorrow's meeting, her daughter's wedding plans, the strange sound the car was making. Her breath would become shallow, quick, matching the pace of her anxious thoughts until her body felt like a hummingbird trapped in a small room. Feel this familiar dance in your own experience. How often has your breath become prisoner to your worries? How many nights has the rhythm of your breathing mirrored the chaos of your thinking instead of leading you toward peace? But Linda's story transformed on a quiet Tuesday evening when her granddaughter asked a simple question. "Grandma, why do you breathe so fast when you're worried?" Out of the mouths of children comes the deepest wisdom. That night, Linda decided to experiment. Instead of lying in bed waiting for sleep to find her, she sat on the edge of her bed and simply breathed, not trying to change anything, not trying to fix anything, just breathing with the kind of attention she might give to a favorite piece of music. 3 minutes, that's all she committed to. Just 3 minutes of being fully present with the most fundamental act of being alive. In the first minute, her mind protested, "We don't have time for this." There are important things to think about. This is foolish. But Linda breathed anyway, watching her thoughts like clouds passing through the sky of her awareness. In the second minute, something began to shift. Her breath naturally deepened. Her shoulders released tension she hadn't realized she was carrying. The racing of her mind began to slow like a spinning wheel gradually coming to rest. By the third minute, Linda discovered something miraculous. Her body had remembered how to be at peace. Not through effort, but through permission. Not through control, but through surrender to the wisdom that flows beneath the surface of everyday consciousness. Feel yourself breathing now with this same gentle attention. Notice how your breath knows exactly what to do when you stop trying to manage it. Notice how it deepens naturally when you offer it the gift of your presence. Your breath is your most faithful teacher in the art of conscious rest. It has been with you since your first moment in this world. It will accompany you to your last. In between, it offers you countless opportunities to return to peace, to return to presence, to return to the truth of who you are beneath all the stories of struggle and sleeplessness. The Buddhist masters called this practice anapanasati, mindfulness of breathing. But you don't need to know the ancient words to receive the ancient gift. You only need to be willing to spend 3 minutes falling in love with your own aliveness. There was Samuel from Vermont, a retired firefighter whose nervous system had been trained for decades to be alert, ready, scanning for danger. When his career ended, his body didn't know how to retire from vigilance. Sleep became elusive because rest felt unsafe to a system designed for emergency response. But in those 3 sacred minutes of conscious breathing, Samuel's nervous system began to remember that it was safe to stand down, safe to soften, safe to trust that he could let go without catastrophe following. Each breath became a gentle message to his ancient survival mechanisms. All is well. You can rest now. The emergency is over. Listen to your own breath now. Feel how it rises and falls without your management, like waves on a distant shore. Your breath is proof that you are held by something larger than your individual will, something more reliable than your personal effort. In these 3 minutes, you are not trying to stop your thoughts or achieve some perfect state of emptiness. You are simply offering your attention to the rhythm that has been sustaining you all your life without asking for recognition or gratitude. When your mind wanders, and it will, because that's what minds do, you simply notice where it has gone and gently guide your attention back to your breath. Like a loving parent calling a child back to safety with patience and tenderness and infinite understanding. Each time you return to your breath, you are strengthening something sacred. You are building a neurological pathway that says, here is safety, here is peace, here is the place I can always come home to. There was Maria from New Mexico, whose anxiety would spiral into sleepless nights of worry about everything and nothing. But in those 3 minutes of conscious breathing, she discovered that worry lives in the future, fear lives in the past, but peace lives in this breath, this moment, this sacred now. Her 3-minute practice became an anchor in the storm of modern life. No matter how chaotic her day, no matter how overwhelming her thoughts, she knew she could always find her way home to herself through the doorway of conscious breath. Feel this anchor forming in your own experience now. Feel how your breath becomes a golden thread connecting you to peace, to presence, to the part of you that has never been touched by anxiety or insomnia or the thousand small troubles that visit the surface of life. Tonight, as you prepare for rest, offer yourself this gift. Sit on the edge of your bed. Place one hand on your heart, one on your belly. Close your eyes and breathe, not trying to achieve anything, not trying to become anything. Simply breathing with the kind of loving attention you would offer to a newborn child. 3 minutes of returning home to yourself. 3 minutes of remembering that peace is not something you have to create, but something you can always discover, waiting patiently beneath the noise of everyday consciousness. Your breath knows the way. Trust it. Follow it. Let it carry you across the bridge from waking to sleeping, from thinking to being, from effort to the most natural surrender of all. The rain has almost ceased now. Only the softest whispers remain, like the earth's gentle sigh of gratitude. From your sacred porch, you feel something profound shifting in the depths of your being. Those 3 minutes of conscious breathing have begun their quiet work, creating pathways in your nervous system as ancient and reliable as rivers carving through stone. This is the 4th ritual, dear soul, understanding how your faithful practice becomes an anchor for your weary spirit. Close your eyes and rest deeper into this knowing. Feel how your body already responds differently to the rhythm of your breath. Your shoulders have found a new softness. Your heart beats with more spacious timing. Your mind has discovered a doorway it had forgotten existed. What you have just experienced is not magic, though it feels magical. It is the profound wisdom of your nervous system remembering what it has always known but perhaps forgotten in the noise of modern living. Every night that you spend those 3 sacred minutes with your breath, you are building something beautiful, not with effort, but with repetition, not with force, but with faithful return to presence. You are creating what the neuroscientists call conditioning, and what the Buddhist masters called cultivation of peace. There was a woman named Dorothy from Wisconsin whose life changed through this simple understanding. For months, she practiced her 3 minutes of conscious breathing before sleep. At first, it felt like drawing water from a dry well. Her mind would scatter like startled birds. Her body would fidget with restless energy. But Dorothy understood something profound. She wasn't trying to achieve perfect meditation or immediate sleep. She was planting seeds in the garden of her nervous system. Seeds that would grow slowly, quietly, in their own perfect timing. Feel this patience in your own heart now. Feel how different it is from the urgent demands you may have placed on yourself before. This is not about instant results. This is about faithful tending of your inner landscape. Night after night, Dorothy returned to her practice. 3 minutes of presence with her breath. 3 minutes of coming home to herself. 3 minutes of teaching her nervous system that this time, this rhythm, this quality of attention meant safety, meant rest, meant permission to let go. Slowly, something extraordinary began to happen. Her body started to anticipate these 3 minutes with the same recognition a flower has for sunrise. Before she even began breathing consciously, her muscles would start to soften. Her mind would begin to quiet. Her heart would shift into a more peaceful rhythm. She had created what became her neurological anchor, a signal so deep and reliable that her entire being would respond before she even dropped the anchor fully into the waters of consciousness. Listen to your own body now. Can you feel this recognition beginning? Can you sense how your system has already started to associate conscious breathing with the permission to rest? Your nervous system is infinitely wise, dear one. It learns through repetition what brings safety and what brings stress. It remembers what signals peace and what signals alarm. When you consistently offer it the gift of conscious breathing before sleep, it begins to understand, this means it's time to rest. This means we are safe. This means we can let go. There was Michael from Oregon, a retired engineer whose analytical mind had always needed logical explanations for everything. When he first heard about creating neurological anchors through breathing practice, his scientist's skepticism arose like morning fog. But Michael was also desperate for rest. Years of insomnia had left him willing to experiment with anything that might bring peace to his nights. So he approached breathing practice like a research project, tracking his sleep quality, his stress levels, his overall sense of well-being. What he discovered amazed his logical mind and healed his tired heart. After 6 weeks of consistent 3-minute breathing practice, his sleep quality improved dramatically. But more than that, his entire relationship with bedtime transformed from dread to anticipation. Feel this possibility in your own experience. What if going to sleep could become something you looked forward to rather than something you approached with anxiety? What if your bedtime routine could become a beloved ritual rather than a nightly struggle? Your breath has been with you through every experience of your life, every joy, every sorrow, every moment of peace, every season of struggle. It has been the one constant companion that never judged, never abandoned, never asked for anything in return. Now, through conscious practice, you are inviting your breath to become your guide into rest. You are asking this most faithful friend to lead you across the bridge from waking consciousness to the healing realm of sleep. Each night that you practice, you strengthen this bridge. Each moment of conscious breathing adds another plank, another support beam, another reliable step on your pathway to peace. There was Susan from Florida, a grandmother who discovered that her neurological anchor became so strong that even thinking about her breathing practice would begin to calm her nervous system. During stressful moments in her day, she could recall the feeling of those 3 sacred minutes and find her center again. Her anchor had become portable. Her peace had become accessible anytime, anywhere she needed to remember the way home to herself. This is the gift of consistent practice, beautiful soul. You are not just improving your sleep. You are creating a sanctuary within yourself that you can access whenever life becomes overwhelming. You are building an inner refuge that no external circumstance can disturb. Feel your breath now, moving with the steady rhythm of waves on a peaceful shore. Feel how it connects you to something larger than your individual concerns, something more stable than your temporary worries. Tonight, as you prepare for rest, remember that you are not just practicing breathing. You are training your nervous system to recognize safety. You are teaching your body to trust. You are creating pathways to peace that will serve you for all the nights to come. Your 3 minutes of conscious breathing become the key that unlocks the door to rest. Not through force, but through recognition. Not through effort, but through the gentle authority of repeated loving attention to the breath that sustains your life. The anchor is being set now, dear one, in the quiet depths of your being. in the sacred space where breath meets consciousness, in the holy ground where effort transforms into grace. Trust this process. Trust your breath. Trust your wise body's ability to learn what brings peace and to respond with increasing ease to your invitation to rest. The rain has stopped now. In the profound quiet that follows, you can almost hear the earth breathing. From your porch of contemplation, the first hint of dawn whispers at the edge of the world. Not the harsh alarm of modern mornings, but the gentle stirring of consciousness that knows its own perfect timing. This is where the fifth ritual lives, dear soul. In the sacred transition from sleep to waking, in the tender moments when your spirit returns from the realm of dreams. Close your eyes and imagine yourself awakening tomorrow morning, not with the jolt of responsibility or the rush of immediate demands, but with the grace of a flower opening to receive the first gift of sunlight. How you awaken shapes everything that follows. The quality of your morning breath becomes the foundation for your day's rhythm. The gentleness with which you greet consciousness becomes the template for how you meet every moment until you return to rest. There was a woman named Helen from Vermont who had been startled awake by alarms for 40 years. Every morning began with a small violence, a jarring interruption of natural rhythms that left her nervous system activated before her mind was even fully present. Her body learned to associate awakening with emergency, rest with anxiety about the coming assault of another harsh morning. Feel how this might live in your own experience. How many mornings have begun with the shock of mechanical sound, the immediate pressure to be instantly alert, instantly productive, instantly available to the demands of the day. But Helen's story transformed on a quiet Tuesday morning when her power went out and her alarm clock reset itself. She awakened naturally, gradually, her consciousness emerging like sunrise itself, slowly, gently, with perfect timing that belonged to her body's wisdom rather than the clock's demands. That morning, Helen felt something she had forgotten existed. Peace in the transition. Joy in the simple act of opening her eyes. Gratitude for the gift of another day stretching before her like an unwritten poem. Feel yourself breathing into this possibility now. What if awakening could become your first act of self-love each day? What if the transition from sleep to consciousness could be as gentle as the transition from winter to spring? The Buddhist masters spoke of awakening not just from sleep, but into presence. Each morning offered them the opportunity to practice the most fundamental spiritual skill, returning to the body, returning to the breath, returning to the sacred ground of here and now. Your bedroom becomes your temple. Your bed becomes your altar. Your first conscious breath becomes your morning prayer, not spoken in words but offered in the simple gratitude of being alive for another day. There was Robert from Montana, a rancher who had awakened at 4:30 a.m. for 30 years to tend his cattle. His mornings were efficient, purposeful, focused on the immediate needs of the animals in his care. But when he retired, he discovered that he had forgotten how to awaken for himself, how to greet consciousness with the tenderness he had always reserved for newborn calves. Robert learned to create what he called his sunrise practice. Instead of leaping from bed to begin the day's tasks, he would lie still for a few precious minutes, feeling his body against the mattress, noticing the quality of light filtering through his curtains. listening to the sounds that announced the world's gentle awakening. He would stretch like the barn cats he had watched for decades, moving slowly, deliberately, honoring the transition from rest to activity. His body began to thank him for this kindness, his joints moving more freely, his energy flowing more sustainably throughout the day. Feel yourself experimenting with this now. Place your hands on your heart and imagine tomorrow's awakening. Your eyes opening naturally, without force. Your first breath deep and grateful. Your body stretching like it remembers how to celebrate its own aliveness. This sacred transition asks for so little and offers so much. A few minutes of conscious greeting between sleep and the day's activities. A gentle bridge that honors both your need for rest and your readiness to engage with life. There was Margaret from California, an artist who discovered that her morning awakening practice influenced her creativity throughout the day. When she began her mornings with harsh alarms and immediate busyness, her art felt forced, effortful, disconnected from her deeper inspiration. But when she learned to awaken gently, to honor the transition with presence and gratitude, her creativity flowed like water, finding its natural course. Her paintings became more alive, more authentic, more connected to the wellspring of inspiration that lives beneath the surface of everyday consciousness. Your morning awakening ripples through every hour that follows. The gentleness you offer yourself in those first moments of consciousness becomes available to every person you encounter, every challenge you face, every opportunity you receive. Feel this in your own heart now. Feel how the quality of your awakening could transform not just your mornings, but your entire relationship with being alive. Feel how this simple practice could become a gift you offer not just to yourself, but to everyone whose life touches yours. Tonight, as you prepare for sleep, set an intention for tomorrow's awakening, not a goal to achieve, but a gift to receive. The gift of conscious transition, the gift of gentle greeting, the gift of awakening as an act of love rather than an assault on peace. Place your hand on your heart and whisper this promise to your sleeping body. Tomorrow, I will greet you with kindness. I will honor your transition from dreams to daylight. I will let you awaken in your own perfect timing, with your own natural grace. Feel this intention settling into your consciousness like seeds planted in fertile soil. Feel your body receiving this promise with relief, knowing that tomorrow's awakening will be different, gentler, more aligned with the rhythm of natural awakening that lives in your bones. The dawn that waits for you is not just tomorrow's sunrise. It is the dawn of a new relationship with consciousness itself, a new way of greeting each day as a sacred opportunity rather than a series of demands to meet. Rest now in this knowing. Rest in the promise of gentle awakening. Rest in the trust that your body knows how to return to consciousness with the same grace it uses to find its way to sleep. The silence that follows rain holds a sacred quality, like the pause between one breath and the next. From your porch sanctuary, you feel the world balanced on the edge of dawn. In this profound stillness, the sixth ritual begins to whisper its ancient wisdom about how you meet each new day. What energy will you choose to cultivate today? This simple question holds the power to transform not just your waking hours, but the quality of rest that awaits you when night returns. Close your eyes and feel yourself standing at the threshold of tomorrow, not with anxiety about what must be done, but with the gentle authority of someone who knows that each day begins with a choice. A choice about who you will be, how you will move through the world, what qualities you will nurture in the garden of your heart. There was a woman named Joyce from Maine who discovered this truth on an ordinary Thursday morning. For years, she had awakened to immediate thoughts of her endless to-do list. Her mind would catalogue responsibilities before her feet touched the floor. Her first conscious moments belonged to obligation rather than intention. But that Thursday morning, something shifted. Perhaps it was the quality of light streaming through her bedroom window. Perhaps it was the gentle sound of rain from the night before still dripping from the eaves. Whatever sparked the change, Joyce found herself asking a question she had never asked before. What energy do I want to carry into this day? Feel this question settling into your own consciousness now. Notice how different it feels from asking, what do I have to do today? Notice how it shifts your attention from external demands to internal choice, from pressure to possibility. Joyce lay in bed for a few precious minutes, considering her answer. Not thinking about it, but feeling into it. What quality wanted to express itself through her today? What aspect of her spirit felt ready to shine? The word that arose surprised her with its simplicity, gentleness. She wanted to move through her day with gentleness, toward herself, gentleness toward others, gentleness toward the inevitable challenges and small frustrations that every day contains. As she rose from bed, Joyce whispered this intention like a prayer. Today, I choose gentleness. She felt it settling into her body like warm honey, influencing how she moved, how she spoke, how she met each moment with the quality she had chosen to cultivate. By evening, something extraordinary had happened. Not only had her day unfolded with more ease and grace, but her body felt ready for rest in a way it hadn't for months. She realized that the energy we carry during our waking hours directly influences our ability to release into sleep. Feel this wisdom touching your own experience. When you move through your day with conscious intention, when you choose qualities like patience or presence or compassion, you are not just improving your daily life. You are preparing your spirit for rest. The Buddhist masters understood this profound connection. They spoke of right livelihood not just as ethical work, but as living in harmony with your deepest values. When your days align with your intentions, your nights naturally align with peace. There was David from Colorado, a retired carpenter who had spent his career building with his hands, but had never learned to build with his consciousness. His days unfolded randomly, reactively, shaped by whatever demands arose rather than any deliberate choice about how he wanted to be in the world. When David learned to set morning intentions, his entire relationship with time transformed. Some days he chose presence, moving slowly and deliberately through each task. Other days he chose joy, looking for moments of delight in ordinary activities. Still other days he chose service, asking how he could be helpful to others. Each intention became a lens through which he viewed his day, a quality that influenced every interaction, every decision, every breath. And each evening, as he prepared for sleep, he felt the satisfaction of having lived with purpose rather than just passing time. Your morning intention does not need to be complex or profound. It can be as simple as choosing kindness or curiosity or gratitude. The power lies not in the sophistication of your choice, but in the consciousness with which you make it. There was Ruth from Georgia, a teacher who discovered the practice of gratitude intentions. Each morning, she would ask herself, "What am I grateful for today?" Not just thinking about gratitude, but choosing to let appreciation be the quality that colored her day. She began noticing things she had never seen before. The way morning light fell across her kitchen table, the sound of her neighbor's laughter, the feeling of warm water during her evening shower. Her days became rich with recognition of life's ordinary gifts, and her nights became rich with contentment. When you spend your day in conscious appreciation, you go to bed with a full heart. When your heart is full, rest comes naturally, like a dear friend who knows they are welcome. Feel yourself experimenting with this practice now. Tomorrow morning, before your feet touch the floor, before you check your phone or think about your schedule, ask yourself that sacred question: what energy do I want to cultivate today? Listen for the answer, not with your mind, but with your heart. Let it arise organically, authentically, from whatever feels most alive in you in that moment. It might be different every day. It might be the same quality you choose to deepen over many days. Trust whatever emerges. Then carry that intention with you like a gentle compass, guiding how you move through the world. When you face a challenge, return to your chosen quality. When you interact with others, let your intention influence your words and actions. When you rest in the evening, feel the satisfaction of having lived with consciousness rather than just habit. This practice creates a beautiful circle. Conscious intentions during the day prepare your spirit for peaceful rest at night. Peaceful rest at night prepares your spirit for conscious intentions during the day. You become both the artist and the artwork, consciously creating the masterpiece of your own life. Tonight, as you prepare for sleep, feel gratitude for the opportunity tomorrow will bring. The opportunity to choose again, to begin again, to live again with the quality of presence that transforms ordinary moments into sacred experiences. Rest now in the knowing that you have this power. The power to choose how you meet each day. The power to cultivate whatever qualities your heart most wants to express. The power to live with intention rather than accident, with purpose rather than reaction. The first bird of dawn has begun its tentative song. From your porch of contemplation, you feel the earth stirring from its night of rest. In this tender moment between darkness and light, the seventh ritual reveals itself like a flower opening to greet the sun. Your body, dear soul, is not a machine that must be switched on with harsh efficiency. It is a living temple that deserves to be awakened with the same reverence you would offer to something sacred. Close your eyes and imagine yourself tomorrow morning, rising from sleep like mist rising from a quiet lake. Feel how your body wants to move when it is honored rather than hurried, when it is invited into the day rather than forced into action. There was a woman named Carol from Wisconsin who had treated her body like a piece of equipment for 67 years. Each morning began with sharp, efficient movements, feet hitting the floor with purpose, arms reaching for clothes with mechanical precision. Her body learned to expect the abrupt transition from rest to activity, holding tension in anticipation of the daily assault on its natural rhythms. But Carol's story transformed on a September morning when a back injury forced her to move differently. Unable to spring from bed as she had for decades, she discovered the profound gift of gentle awakening. Feel this in your own body now. Feel how different it would be to awaken not with efficiency, but with love. Not with haste, but with the tender attention you would offer to a beloved friend who needed care. Carol learned to begin each morning by simply breathing into her body before asking it to move. Lying still for a moment, she would send appreciation to her faithful legs that had carried her through countless days, to her strong arms that had held children and grandchildren, to her wise heart that had beat steadily through joy and sorrow alike. Then, slowly, like a cat stretching in afternoon sunlight, she would begin to move. A gentle arch of her back, a soft rotation of her ankles, arms reaching above her head in celebration of another day of being alive in this miraculous form. Your body holds the memory of every movement it has ever made, every dance step from your youth, every embrace you have given and received, every gentle touch, every moment of physical joy. When you move with consciousness, you awaken not just your muscles and joints, but all these beautiful memories of being embodied. The Buddhist masters spoke of the body as a temple, not because it should be worshipped, but because it should be honored. Your morning movements become your first offering of gratitude for the gift of physical existence. There was James from Arkansas, a farmer who had awakened his body with work for 40 years. His morning stretches were purposeful, preparing for the demands of the day ahead. But when he retired, he discovered something extraordinary. When he moved his body for the pure joy of movement rather than preparation for labor, his entire being came alive in ways he had forgotten were possible. James began to stretch like the barn cats he had watched for decades. Slow, deliberate, purely for the pleasure of feeling alive in his skin. His morning movements became a celebration rather than a warm-up, a greeting to his body rather than preparation for its use. Feel yourself experimenting with this now. Tomorrow morning, before you rise from bed, place your hands on your heart and whisper, "Thank you, beautiful body, for carrying me through another night of healing rest." Then begin to move like you are conducting a gentle symphony. Each stretch is a note. Each rotation is a melody. Each breath is the rhythm that connects all movement into one song of gratitude for being alive. Start with your fingers and toes, wiggling them like you are playing piano keys made of morning light. Feel the blood beginning to flow, carrying oxygen and vitality to every cell. Notice how even these small movements create ripples of aliveness throughout your entire being. Rotate your ankles slowly, appreciating these complex joints that allow you to walk through the world with grace. Flex and point your feet, remembering all the ground they have covered, all the paths they have explored, all the dances they have danced. Draw your knees gently toward your chest, giving your lower back the gift of a soft embrace. Feel how this simple movement releases the night's stillness and invites flexibility back into your spine. Reach your arms above your head like you are gathering starlight. Feel your ribs expanding, your lungs celebrating their capacity to draw in the breath of life. Let this reaching become a prayer of gratitude for the gift of another day. There was Eleanor from Oregon, a retired nurse who discovered that her morning movements influenced her sleep quality the following night. When she began her days with gentle, conscious movement, her body remembered this kindness throughout the day. Her muscles stayed more relaxed. Her joints moved with greater ease. Her nervous system carried the memory of morning tenderness into evening rest. Your body is constantly learning from how you treat it. When you begin each day with harsh efficiency, it learns to expect struggle. When you begin with gentle reverence, it learns to expect love. Feel this truth settling into your bones now. Feel how your body responds to the promise of tomorrow's gentle awakening. Feel how it sighs with relief, knowing that it will be honored rather than ignored, celebrated rather than merely used. Tonight, as you prepare for sleep, make this sacred commitment to your faithful form. Tomorrow, I will awaken you with love. I will move you with reverence. I will treat you as the temple you are, housing the spirit that animates my life. Rest now in this promise. Rest knowing that tomorrow will begin differently. Your body will be greeted as a beloved friend rather than a servant. Your movements will be offerings of gratitude rather than preparations for battle. The dawn chorus has begun in earnest now. From your sacred porch, you listen to the symphony of awakening that happens every morning without fanfare, without announcement, without anyone needing to organize or manage this daily miracle. In this recognition, the eighth ritual emerges like sunlight touching dewdrops, transforming the ordinary into the extraordinary. What if celebration is not something reserved for special occasions, but a way of breathing through every ordinary moment of your precious life? Close your eyes and feel yourself opening to this possibility. Feel how different your day might unfold if you approached it not as a series of tasks to complete, but as a collection of small miracles to witness and receive. There was a woman named Betty from Iowa who lived for 73 years before she learned to celebrate Tuesday. Not because anything special happened on Tuesday, but because Tuesday itself was special. The way morning light fell across her kitchen table, the sound of coffee brewing, the feeling of warm water when she washed her hands. Betty had spent decades waiting for reasons to celebrate. Birthdays, holidays, achievements, milestones. Life happened in the spaces between celebrations, in the ordinary moments that she moved through without really seeing, without really tasting, without really feeling their quiet magic. But one Tuesday morning, something shifted. Perhaps it was the way her cat stretched in the morning sunlight. Perhaps it was the unexpected kindness of a neighbor's smile. Perhaps it was simply that her heart had grown tired of waiting for permission to feel joy. That Tuesday, Betty decided to celebrate the fact that she was alive to witness the morning, alive to taste her coffee, alive to feel the soft fabric of her favorite sweater against her skin. She had no idea that this simple shift would transform not just her days, but her nights. Feel this truth settling into your own heart now. When you spend your days in conscious celebration of life's ordinary gifts, you go to sleep with a soul satisfied. When your soul is satisfied, rest comes like a friend who knows they are truly welcome. The Buddhist masters spoke of this as sacred appreciation, not waiting for extraordinary moments to feel gratitude, but discovering the extraordinary nature of every moment when met with full presence. Your morning cup of tea is not just a beverage, it is warmth in your hands, steam carrying the promise of comfort, the miracle of leaves from distant mountains bringing healing to your body. When you drink with consciousness, you are participating in an ancient ritual of receiving the earth's gifts. There was William from Nebraska, a retired accountant who had measured his life in numbers and deadlines for 40 years. When his career ended, he discovered He had forgotten how to find joy in moments that couldn't be quantified or scheduled. William learned to celebrate what he called the mathematics of wonder. The precise angle of afternoon light streaming through his window. The exact temperature of bath water that felt like embrace. The specific blue of the sky on a cloudless day that reminded him of his mother's eyes. Each small celebration became a deposit in the bank account of his happiness. By evening, he felt wealthy in ways that had nothing to do with money and everything to do with the abundance of being alive to witness beauty. Feel yourself experimenting with this sacred practice now. What in this very moment deserves your celebration? The rhythm of your breath that sustains life without your management. The faithful beating of your heart that has accompanied you through every joy and sorrow. The miracle of consciousness that allows you to receive these words and transform them into meaning. Tonight, as you prepare for sleep, let your pillow receive not just your tired head, but your grateful heart. Let your blanket cover not just your body, but your appreciation for all the small gifts that blessed your day. There was Alice from Montana, a rancher's wife who discovered the celebration of evening rituals. The simple act of turning off lights became a blessing for the day ending. Drawing curtains became a prayer of gratitude for shelter. Pulling up blankets became an acknowledgement of the comfort available to her when so many in the world lack such basic luxuries. Her bedtime routine transformed from mechanical habit into sacred ceremony. Each action became an opportunity to recognize how blessed she was to have a safe place to rest, clean sheets to lie upon, a roof to protect her dreams. When you celebrate the ordinary moments of your day, you are training your consciousness to recognize the abundance that surrounds you always. When your consciousness rests in abundance rather than scarcity, sleep comes easily because there is nothing to worry about, nothing to struggle toward, nothing lacking that prevents your complete relaxation. The practice is simple, dear soul. Throughout your day, pause occasionally and ask, what small miracle is happening right now that I might miss if I'm not paying attention? The warmth of sunlight on your skin, the taste of fresh water, the sound of a child's laughter from somewhere nearby, the feeling of your feet against the ground that supports you without question or complaint. Each recognition becomes a moment of celebration. Each celebration becomes a prayer of gratitude. Each prayer of gratitude becomes a building block in the foundation of contentment that makes rest not just possible, but inevitable. There was Grace from Vermont, a teacher who discovered that celebrating ordinary moments taught her students more about joy than any lesson plan. When she began pointing out the small wonders in their classroom, the way dust motes danced in afternoon light, the perfect spiral of a seashell, the sound of pencils on paper creating the music of learning, her students began to see their world differently. They carried this recognition home, sharing their discoveries with families who had forgotten to notice the everyday magic happening all around them. Grace's simple practice rippled outward, creating circles of celebration that touched lives she would never know. Tonight, as sleep prepares to visit you, remember that you are not just ending another day. You are completing another revolution around the sun. You are finishing another chapter in the story of your precious, unrepeatable life. You are closing your eyes on another collection of moments that will never come again exactly as they happened today. This awareness is not meant to create sadness, but celebration. celebration that you were here to witness today's unique collection of light and shadow, of breath and heartbeat, of small interactions and quiet contemplations that make up the texture of being human. Rest now in this spirit of celebration. Rest knowing that tomorrow will bring its own collection of ordinary miracles waiting to be recognized, appreciated, and received with the grateful heart of someone who has learned to find joy not in what might happen, but in what is always happening when you pay attention. The sun has begun to paint the horizon with the gentlest colors now. From your sacred porch, you witness the daily miracle of darkness becoming light, of night releasing its hold to welcome the dawn. In this profound transition, the ninth ritual emerges with a depth of ancient wisdom and the tenderness of a mother's lullaby. Death is not the enemy of sleep, dear soul. It is sleep's greatest teacher. Close your eyes and breathe into this truth that may feel strange at first, like learning a new language of the heart. The Buddhist masters called this practice Maranasati, the mindfulness of death that brings not fear, but the deepest appreciation for the gift of being alive. There was a woman named Rose from California who lived 81 years before she learned to befriend mortality, not through illness or tragedy, but through a simple conversation with her 5-year-old great-granddaughter on a quiet Sunday afternoon. "Grandma Rose," the child asked with the pure curiosity that belongs only to those who have not yet learned to fear the ultimate mystery, what happens when we die. Rose felt her usual impulse to change the subject, to protect the child from thoughts too heavy for small shoulders. But something in the little girl's eyes, so open, so trusting, invited honesty instead of deflection. "I think," Rose said slowly, "that dying is like going to sleep after a very full day. When you've played hard and loved much and seen beautiful things, you feel ready to rest." But as Rose spoke these words, she realized she had been living as if she had infinite tomorrows, infinite chances to love, infinite opportunities to notice the beauty that surrounded her every day. She had been saving her deepest appreciation for someday, storing up her gratitude like a treasure she might never spend. Feel this recognition stirring in your own heart now. How often do you live as if this breath, this day, this moment is guaranteed to be followed by countless others just like it? How often do you postpone presence, delay gratitude, wait for a better time to truly appreciate the gift of being alive? That afternoon conversation changed everything for Rose, not because she became morbid or fearful, but because she became precious to herself. Each morning became a gift she had not earned. Each evening became a completion she could celebrate. Each breath became a miracle she had been taking for granted. The Buddhist teaching of Maranasati is not meant to create anxiety about death, but appreciation for life. When you remember that your time here is limited, each moment becomes sacred. When you acknowledge that nothing lasts forever, everything becomes more beautiful because of its temporary nature. There was Thomas from Vermont, a carpenter who discovered this truth when his doctor told him his heart was weaker than it should be. Not in immediate danger, but a reminder that his body, like all bodies, was impermanent. Instead of despair, Thomas felt something unexpected. Relief. Relief from the pressure to achieve more, accumulate more, become someone other than who he already was. If his time was limited, then each day was precious exactly as it was, without needing to be improved or maximized or made perfect. Thomas began what he called his daily completion practice. Each evening, as he prepared for sleep, he would ask himself, if this were my last night, would I feel complete with how I lived this day? Not perfect, not productive, not impressive, complete. Did he love? Did he notice beauty? Did he treat people with kindness? Did he appreciate the simple gifts that surrounded him? Feel yourself experimenting with this question now. If tonight were your last night of sleep, would you feel complete with how you lived today? What would change if you truly believed this day was a gift with no promise of tomorrow? The practice of death consciousness does not make life more frightening. It makes life more vivid, more immediate, more suffused with the gratitude that comes from knowing something precious cannot be taken for granted. There was Marie from Louisiana, a retired librarian who began each morning by placing her hand on her heart and whispering, "Another day, another chance to love this life." This simple acknowledgement transformed ordinary Tuesday mornings into celebrations. Routine grocery trips became adventures. Quiet evenings became treasures. When you live with conscious appreciation for mortality, your days become love letters to existence itself. Your choices become guided by what matters most rather than what seems most urgent. Your sleep becomes deeper because you have nothing left undone in your heart. Tonight, as you prepare for rest, remember that sleep is practice for the ultimate letting go. Each night, you surrender consciousness without knowing if you will wake. Each morning, you receive the gift of return without having earned it. This daily practice of trust prepares your spirit for the final surrender with grace rather than resistance. But more than preparing for death, consciousness of mortality teaches you how to live. When you remember that this conversation, this sunset, this cup of tea may be among your last, you receive them with the attention they deserve. You taste them fully. You feel them completely. You let them matter. The rain that blessed your porch tonight will not fall exactly this way again. The air you were breathing has never been breathed by you before, and will never be breathed by you again. This moment of reading these words, feeling them touch your heart, recognizing truth in their rhythm. This too is unrepeatable, irreplaceable, infinitely precious. Feel this preciousness now. Feel how it makes your heart tender rather than afraid. Feel how mortality becomes not a limitation but a gift that makes everything more beautiful because nothing lasts forever. Rest tonight knowing that you have received another day of the greatest mystery. Another day of consciousness in a universe that somehow arranged itself so perfectly that you could exist, could think, could feel, could love, could rest in the arms of night knowing you were held by something larger than your individual understanding. Sleep becomes sweeter when seasoned with gratitude for the temporary gift of being alive to experience it. Dreams become more meaningful when you remember they visit a consciousness that will not exist forever. Rest becomes more profound when you acknowledge it as practice for the ultimate rest that awaits every being. You are not here by accident, dear soul. You are here by grace. For this one precious lifetime, you get to breathe, to love, to witness beauty, to offer kindness, to rest in the embrace of night and awaken to the gift of dawn. Dawn has arrived with the gentleness of a blessing. From your sacred porch, you watch the world emerge from its night of rest, touched by golden light that transforms the ordinary into the sacred. In this moment of pure grace, the 10th ritual reveals itself like a flower blooming in your heart. Your bedroom is not just a room, dear soul. It is a temple waiting to be consecrated. Close your eyes and feel yourself floating through your home, seeing it with new vision. Every space holds energy. Every corner whispers stories. But your bedroom is where you practice the most vulnerable act of trust, surrendering consciousness to the mystery of sleep. What if this sacred space could hold you like a mother's arms? What if your bedroom could become a sanctuary that supports not just your rest, but your deepest healing? There was a woman named Lillian from Oregon who lived in the same bedroom for 37 years without ever truly seeing it. It was functional, efficient, practical, a bed for sleeping, a dresser for clothes, a bedside table for necessities. She had created a room for tasks, not for transformation. But one autumn evening, when golden light streamed through her window like liquid blessing, Lillian saw her bedroom as if for the first time. She noticed how the harsh overhead light made everything feel clinical, how the pile of bills on her nightstand brought work energy into her rest space, how the television screen reflected her anxiety back to her even when turned off. That night, Lillian could not sleep, not because she was restless, but because she finally understood why rest had been so elusive. She had been trying to find peace in a space that held no invitation to peace. Feel this recognition touching your own heart now. Look around your bedroom with tender awareness. What energies live there? What stories do the objects tell? What feelings arise when you imagine yourself as a beloved guest entering this space for the first time? Lillian began what she called her sanctuary transformation. Not an expensive renovation, but a loving consecration of space dedicated to rest and renewal. She started with light. Harsh overhead bulbs were replaced with soft lamps that cast warm pools of golden glow. Candles appeared on her dresser, their gentle flames creating dancing shadows that reminded her spirit of sacred spaces she had visited in dreams. Feel yourself imagining this quality of light in your own rest space. Light that soothes rather than stimulates. Light that whispers rather than shouts. Light that invites your nervous system to recognize evening as a time for settling, not performing. Next, Lillian cleared her nightstand of everything except what served her rest. A glass of water, a beloved book of poetry, a small dish for her wedding ring. Each object became intentional, chosen for its ability to support her transition from day to night. The television found a new home in another room. Electronic devices discovered charging stations far from her pillow. Her bedroom began to remember its primary purpose, to hold her sleep like a chalice holds sacred wine. But the most profound change was invisible. Lillian began speaking to her bedroom like it was a living being capable of receiving her intentions. "Sweet room," she would whisper as she prepared for sleep, "thank you for holding my rest. Thank you for being my sanctuary. Help me feel safe enough to surrender to the healing that happens in sleep." There was Harold from Montana, a rancher who discovered that his bedroom held the energy of a lifetime of worry. Decades of lying awake, calculating rainfall, livestock prices, equipment repairs. His rest space had become a boardroom for anxiety rather than a sanctuary for peace. Harold learned to cleanse his bedroom with intention rather than chemicals. Each evening, he would stand in his doorway and imagine breathing out all the day's concerns, letting them flow away like smoke from a dying fire. Then he would breathe in peace, gratitude, and trust, filling his room with energies that supported rest rather than resisted it. Feel yourself experimenting with this practice now. Your bedroom is listening, dear soul. It wants to serve your highest good. It longs to become a space that holds you with the tenderness you deserve. What changes might your bedroom be asking for? Perhaps softer textures that invite your skin to remember comfort. Perhaps colors that calm rather than energize. Perhaps scents that remind your nervous system of safety and peace. There was Dorothy from Michigan, a retired nurse who filled her bedroom with growing things. Small plants that cleaned the air while she slept. Flowers that offered their beauty to her morning awakening. Her bedroom became a garden where rest could grow naturally, organically, in partnership with the living world. Your bedroom can become whatever your spirit needs for healing. A cave of soft darkness for those who need to retreat from the world. A nest of gentle textures for those who need to feel held. A gallery of beautiful images for those who need to feed their souls through their eyes. The key is consciousness, creating your sleep sanctuary not from rules or magazines, but from listening to what your weary heart truly needs to feel safe enough to rest. Tonight, as you enter your bedroom, pause at the threshold like entering a sacred temple. Place your hand on your heart and ask, what does this space need to better serve my rest? What energies want to be welcomed here? What needs to be released to make room for peace? Listen with your whole being. Your bedroom has been waiting patiently for this conversation, ready to transform itself into whatever sanctuary your soul requires for the deepest, most healing rest. Rest now in this knowing. Rest knowing that your bedroom is becoming consecrated space. Rest trusting that the environment around you is learning to support the precious, vulnerable, beautiful act of surrendering consciousness to the mystery of healing sleep. The morning has fully arrived now, painting the world with light that speaks of renewal and endless possibility. From your sacred porch, you feel yourself held between the wisdom of night and the promise of day. In this liminal space, the 11th ritual whispers its ancient truth about the sacred rhythms that flow through your beautiful, wise body. Your body is not a clock to be reset, dear soul. It is a river with its own perfect timing, its own seasonal flows, its own mysterious currents that carry you toward rest when the time is right. Close your eyes and feel yourself floating on this river of natural rhythm. Feel how your breath ebbs and flows without your control. Feel how your heart beats in patterns that belong to something larger than your individual will. Feel how your body knows things your mind has forgotten about the sacred dance of rest and renewal. There was a woman named Evelyn from New Hampshire who spent 40 years fighting her body's natural rhythm. She was what the world called a night owl, her energy naturally rising as the sun set, her mind becoming clear and creative in the quiet hours when others slept. But the world demanded that she function on morning person time, so she forced herself into patterns that felt like wearing shoes that never quite fit. Every night, Evelyn would lie in bed at 10 o'clock because that's when adults were supposed to sleep. But her body hummed with vitality. Her mind sparkled with ideas. Her spirit felt most alive in the gentle darkness when the world grew quiet enough for her to hear her own thoughts. Morning alarms at 6:30 felt like violence to her system. Her body needed until midnight to settle into rest, which meant 9 hours of sleep required awakening at 9. But work, family obligations, and social expectations demanded she override her natural rhythm and live on schedule that belonged to someone else. Feel this struggle in your own experience, beautiful one. How often have you forced your precious body to conform to external expectations rather than honoring its own wise timing? How many years have you spent believing there was something wrong with needing more rest, or different rest, or rest at different times than some arbitrary standard? The turning point for Evelyn came during a summer vacation when she had no alarms to set, no schedule to keep. For the first time in decades, she let her body choose when to sleep and when to wake. What she discovered amazed her. Her natural rhythm was 11:30 to 7:30, 8 hours of sleep, but on her body's preferred schedule. When she honored this timing, she felt more rested than she had in years. Her energy flowed smoothly throughout the day. Her mood stabilized. Her creativity blossomed. When vacation ended, Evelyn made a radical decision. She would find ways to honor her natural rhythm rather than continue the exhausting battle against it. She negotiated a later start time at work. She moved her dinner hour earlier to allow proper digestion before her natural bedtime. She protected her evening energy instead of forcing late-night socializing that felt draining rather than nourishing. Your body has its own perfect rhythm, dear one. Not better or worse than anyone else's rhythm, but uniquely yours. Like a fingerprint made of time and energy, your natural cycles are as individual as your heartbeat, as personal as your dreams. There was Robert from Alabama, whose body craved what he called the grandmother nap. Every afternoon at 2 o'clock, his energy would naturally dip. For years, he fought this with caffeine and determination, believing that needing rest during the day was laziness. But when Robert retired and could finally listen to his body's wisdom, he discovered that a 20-minute rest in the afternoon actually improved his nighttime sleep. His body wanted 2 periods of rest, the gentle afternoon settling and the deeper night renewal. When he honored both, his overall energy and well-being improved dramatically. Feel yourself opening to the possibility that your body's needs might be different from what you've been taught to expect. Feel the relief of releasing yourself from sleep schedules that never quite fit, rest patterns that always felt forced. The Buddhist understanding of natural rhythm teaches that everything in existence follows cycles. The moon waxes and wanes. The tides rise and fall. Seasons flow from growth to rest to renewal. Your body is part of this great cosmic breathing, this universal rhythm of expansion and contraction. Some seasons of your life require more rest. Times of healing, grieving, major transitions, or simply the natural changes that come with aging. Other seasons call for more activity, more engagement with the world. Both are natural, both are necessary. Both deserve to be honored without judgment. There was Margaret from Arizona, whose sleep needs changed dramatically after her husband passed away. Where she once needed 7 hours, she now needed 9. Where she once awakened easily at dawn, she now required gentle emergence into daylight. Her body was processing grief in the depths of sleep, doing the sacred work of healing that could only happen in rest. Instead of fighting these new needs, Margaret learned to see them as her body's wisdom guiding her through the most difficult passage of her life. She gave herself permission to sleep longer, to rest more during the day, to honor the additional restoration her grieving heart required. Tonight, as you prepare for sleep, make this sacred promise to your beautiful, wise body. I will listen to your rhythms. I will honor your timing. I will trust your needs, even when they don't match what others expect or what I think I should need. Feel this promise settling into your bones like rain soaking into thirsty earth. Feel your body sighing with relief, finally free from the exhausting work of conforming to patterns that were never meant for your unique rhythm. Your natural cycles are not obstacles to overcome, but gifts to receive. Your individual needs are not problems to solve, but wisdom to follow. Your body's rhythm is not wrong when it differs from others. It is perfectly, precisely, beautifully right for you. Rest now in this knowing. Rest trusting that your body knows exactly when and how long to sleep for your optimal healing. Rest in the profound peace that comes from finally coming home to your own natural rhythm. The sun climbs higher now, washing the world in golden warmth that speaks of beginnings and endless grace. From your sacred porch, you feel the profound completion of night's journey toward dawn. In this moment of pure transition, the 12th ritual emerges like a gentle river flowing toward the sea, carrying away all that no longer serves your peaceful heart. Each day accumulates small weights, dear soul, invisible burdens that gather like dust on furniture, so gradually you hardly notice, until one evening you wonder why your spirit feels so heavy. Close your eyes and feel into this truth. Feel how your heart has been collecting today's moments. The conversation that left you unsettled, the worry that whispered all afternoon, the small disappointment that clings like morning mist, the joy that wants to be fully received before night arrives. There was a woman named Catherine from Montana who carried every day into her bed like an overpacked suitcase. Conversations replayed in her mind like broken records, worries about tomorrow tangled with regrets from yesterday. By the time her head touched the pillow, her heart held the weight of unprocessed experiences that made rest feel impossible. Catherine had forgotten the sacred art of completion. She would move from day into night without the gentle transition that allows the spirit to release what belongs to daylight and prepare for the healing that happens in dreams. Feel this recognition stirring in your own experience, beautiful one. How often have you carried the day's residue into your rest? How many nights have been disturbed not by the present moment, but by the unfinished emotional business that follows you into darkness? The Buddhist masters understood this profound need for conscious transition. They spoke of evening practice as essential as morning meditation. The day must be honored, completed, blessed, and released before the spirit can surrender to the vulnerable trust that sleep requires. Catherine learned to create what she called her evening release ritual. Not elaborate ceremony, but simple practices that allowed her heart to set down the day's burdens with the same care she used to set down precious objects. She would begin by lighting a small candle as the sun set, not for decoration, but for intention. The flame became her witness as she spoke aloud the day's experiences that needed acknowledgement. Today, I felt frustrated with my neighbor's dog barking. She would speak these words not to complain, but to honor the feeling's right to exist. Today, I felt grateful for the surprise phone call from my daughter. Again, not analysis, but acknowledgement, letting each experience be seen and felt completely. Feel yourself experimenting with this practice now. What from today wants your gentle attention before you rest? What moments are asking to be witnessed, appreciated, or released with love? There was James from Vermont, a retired teacher who discovered that his evening worries were actually his mind's way of trying to solve tomorrow's problems. Instead of fighting these concerns, he learned to write them down before bed. Not to obsess over solutions, but to promise his worried mind that these thoughts would be waiting for him in the morning when he could actually do something about them. This simple practice freed his sleep from the burden of carrying concerns that belonged to tomorrow's daylight hours. His rest became pure rest, unburdened by the impossible task of solving problems in dreams. The evening release ritual is not about perfection, dear soul. It is about permission. Permission to feel what you felt without judgment. Permission to acknowledge what you experienced without trying to fix or change it. Permission to complete the day with the same consciousness you brought to living it. There was Mary from California, who learned to practice what she called gratitude completion. Each evening, she would name 3 moments from the day that touched her heart. Not just good things, but moments that made her feel alive, present, connected to the beauty of being human. The way morning light fell across my kitchen table, the sound of my grandson's laughter on the phone, the feeling of warm water when I washed the dishes. Each recognition became a gift she offered to her heart before sleep, filling her dreams with appreciation rather than anxiety. Your evening practice can be as simple as placing your hand on your heart and asking, "What does my heart need to say about this day before we rest?" Then listening, not with your mind, but with the tenderness you would offer to a dear friend who needed to be heard. Some evenings, tears may come. Let them flow like rain washing clean windows. Some evenings, laughter may bubble up from remembered joy. Let it fill your room like sunlight. Some evenings, simply the recognition I lived another day may be enough to complete your heart's need for acknowledgement. Tonight, as you prepare for sleep, remember that you are not just ending another day. You are completing another sacred chapter in the story of your precious life. Each experience deserves to be honored before it transforms into memory. Each feeling deserves to be felt completely before it releases into the wisdom that comes from living consciously. Create your own evening ritual, beautiful one. Light a candle or simply close your eyes. Speak aloud or whisper in your heart. Write in a journal or simply breathe with intention. The form matters less than the consciousness you bring to the practice of completion. Rest, now knowing that your day has been blessed, acknowledged, and released with love. Rest, trusting that your heart is clear, your spirit is complete, and your dreams can come like gentle visitors to a house prepared for welcome guests. The morning light now holds the fullness of day, yet something eternal lingers from the night's sacred teachings. From your blessed porch, you feel yourself transformed, not into someone new, but into someone who has remembered what was always true. In this profound recognition, the final teaching completes itself like a circle that has found its perfect wholeness. You have walked through all 10 sacred rituals, dear soul. You have received the ancient gifts that transform sleep from mere biology into conscious practice. Now comes the sweetest teaching of all. how to live as someone who knows these secrets, how to move through your days and nights with the gentle authority of awakened rest. Close your eyes one last time and feel yourself floating in the vast ocean of consciousness that holds all seeking, all finding, all resting, all awakening. You are not the same person who began this journey hours ago. Something has shifted in the deepest chambers of your being, as subtle and profound as the earth's turn toward morning. Integration is not about perfection, beautiful one. It is about remembering. Remembering in the middle of busy afternoons that your breath is always available as a doorway to peace. Remembering during restless evenings that your body holds its own perfect timing. Remembering before sleep that you are held by love larger than any individual worry. There was a woman named Grace from Maine who thought the rituals would change her sleep immediately. When the first night brought familiar restlessness, she wondered if she had misunderstood something essential. But Grace's grandmother, wise in the ways of gradual transformation, reminded her, "Child, you didn't learn to walk in a day. Give yourself the gift of patience as you learn to rest." Feel this compassion settling into your own heart now. Feel how different it is from the harsh demands you may have placed on yourself before. These rituals are not tests to pass, but practices to inhabit, not goals to achieve, but ways of being to embody. Some nights, you will remember to breathe consciously for 3 sacred minutes, and sleep will arrive like a beloved friend. Other nights, you will forget everything except your worry, and rest will seem as distant as stars behind clouds. Both experiences are part of the path. Both deserve your tenderness. There was Samuel from Oregon, who discovered that the rituals worked best when he stopped trying to make them work. The moment he relaxed his grip on outcomes, the practices began to flow through him naturally, like water finding its way downhill. He learned to approach his evening rituals the way he approached tending his garden, with consistency, yes, but also with trust in timing beyond his control. Some seeds sprouted quickly, others waited for conditions he couldn't force, but could only provide. His sleep practice became like this: faithful tending, patient waiting, grateful receiving. Your life now holds these 10 sacred doorways, not as rules to follow perfectly, but as invitations to return to whenever you remember. The doorway of releasing time pressure, the doorway of honoring your body's rhythm, the doorway of breathing with consciousness, the doorway of awakening with grace. Each morning becomes an opportunity to practice. Each evening becomes a chance to remember. Each breath becomes a moment to choose presence over pressure, being over doing, love over fear. There was Eleanor from Colorado, a retired teacher who began sharing these practices with her book club without thinking of them as formal teaching. She would mention her 3-minute breathing practice when friends complained of sleepless nights. She would describe her morning gratitude ritual when someone spoke of difficult days. Slowly, quietly, these ancient practices began spreading through her community like seeds carried on gentle wind. Not through persuasion, but through the simple power of living differently. Eleanor's peaceful presence became an invitation for others to remember their own capacity for rest. Feel this possibility in your own life now. Feel how your transformation ripples outward, touching everyone whose life intersects with yours. Your increased patience with difficult people, your deeper appreciation for ordinary moments, your ability to remain calm in situations that once created anxiety. You become a living demonstration that conscious rest is possible, that sleep can be befriended rather than conquered, that peace can be cultivated through practice rather than achieved through perfection. Tonight, as you prepare for rest, remember that you carry these 10 sacred rituals in your body now. They live in your breath, in your heart's rhythm, in the way you speak to yourself with kindness rather than criticism. You are no longer someone who struggles with sleep. You are someone who practices conscious rest. You are no longer someone broken by insomnia. You are someone learning the ancient art of awakened slumber. Rest now, beautiful soul, in the profound peace that comes from knowing you have everything you need for healing sleep. Rest knowing that these practices will deepen with time, like friendship that grows sweeter through years of faithful attention. Rest knowing that you are held by love that requires nothing from you except your willingness to receive it. Rest knowing that tomorrow will bring another opportunity to practice, another chance to remember, another invitation to live with a consciousness that transforms ordinary moments into sacred experiences. Sleep well, dear one. Dream sweetly. Awaken gently. Live consciously. The 10 sacred rituals live in you now. You are home.